The morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Let's talk from in the shell and share good vibes and good times. Good friends and trends that bend the senses. Let's get a bit senseless. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we bring good vibes and good times. Welcome to the morning coffee show with super fast tortoise. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we have the flow. Good vibes from head to toe. Let the happiness take you in.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sorry we missed yesterday's show. Internet issues were such a beeheimer. I want to say the word. I do.
Yeah, it sucks that happened, but
Yeah.
can't do nothing about life. When life hits you, sometimes it hits you flat in the face so hard, knock you down. But,
That's right.
just got to get back up.
Got to get back up. I get knocked down. I get back up again. And I get all back down again. I don't know the lyrics. It's by Chumbawamba. But anyways, hey, we're here. We got Hillbilly, Lone Wolf, KJ, Cowboy Dan.
I know those guys.
Yeah, the birthday tomorrow, everybody.
Ooh.
And we have a spicy topic tomorrow, which today is kind of like a primer for it. And yes, as Tortoise does, he has a monologue today.
Uh-oh.
But good morning, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here. Everybody's here. Everybody welcome. Hello, my creeps. Hello, new peep. Hello, my creeps. Hello, my creep. Hello, new peep. Welcome to Super Fast Tortoise. You rock, you roll. Let's get this show on the road. First of all, we got MTG Hillbilly.
Hey.
We got the guy who's a head in a jar because he's too short to be a dick in a box. We got KJ.
Whoa! Yay! Oh, sorry.
Sorry, that was my roast for you.
Oh, nice. There we go. Oh man, and just rub it in that I couldn't get that job either.
Then we got Lone Wolf.
What's up, everybody?
What's up? So look, having a good time, having a great time. Man, I missed the band session yesterday, which was sad because I would have talked about that. I looked at the band list yesterday off my phone, thought it was interesting. I talked a little bit about the bands last night in my live that did not save the YouTube, and I quote because my internet messed up with the uploading process.
Wow.
And it did not save.
I was wondering why I got removed right after you streamed. I'm like, what the heck?
Right? It was strange. Yesterday was just a terrible day for internet. It was not just my house. It was the whole street that was dealing with internet issues. There was repairmen going house to house. Basically, there's like one box for like 2 to 4 different houses, 4 block area, 2 houses behind us, 2 houses in front of us. The box takes care of them. They went to every single one of those on our street and repaired them. It took them all day to do it. Then after they got done fixing the boxes, I had to call multiple times to get the router fixed. Our internet got fixed, but our Wi-Fi wasn't working. Then I called to get the Wi-Fi working. Then that started having issues. The Wi-Fi was working, but I had connecting issues. Then I had to call to get that fixed. Then at the end of the day, we had to reboot our server one more time, or our router one more time. And so it's like, how annoying.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did you try unplugging it and plugging it in again?
Oh, more times than I could even imagine.
That's the only tech support I can help you with then.
Right. You know what? The funny thing is in the end, It wasn't unplugging it and plugging it back in that saved it. It was they actually had to turn on the Wi-Fi again. They had to turn on the internet again. They turned it off and forgot to turn it back on.
What?
Dang those people at the internet company.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
It's like the supermarket opening, but they don't put the sign on and open the doors.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, like, funny enough, in the very end of it, we had to unplug it back in to reset the Marauder after they turned them back on to get it functioning 100%, which is why we have a show today. Woo! And I won't lie, it was annoying that every time I got on the phone with them, I was on the phone with them like 4 different times. They tried selling me some phone service I didn't want. And I'm like, why do you guys have a phone service? You're a cable company, you're an internet company, now you're a mobile service company. They offered me a free year service. And I'm like, I love what I have now. Let's just go with what I have and you can keep your phone.
Exactly.
Well, like I said earlier, Cane Shaker kept my brain sanity in check yesterday. We talked a lot. But hey.
I mean, stuff like that, they try to get a commission. That's why they try to sell you stuff. But you know, when people are calling in about the internet,
yeah,
what their problem is, before you try to sell anything, people are calling you about issues, not service. Most of the time, it's issues.
Oh yeah, it was a weird day yesterday. It was just weird. Was not happy about it. Glad we're over it, but now we'll do what we have to. We'll do what we have to. So today's topic is the collector community needs these things, right? I'm going to read this fancy monologue. Yes. And I even think I created a word for tomorrow in this monologue or in my brain. And I think we're going to hit a topic because the collector community needs these things. Let me pull up the monologue right now. It's quite the monologue. Holy cow. The collector community is growing with each generation. People are collecting old vintage classic items. Collectors are also collecting new and fresh items as well. From toys, tech, comics, trading cards, and much more. As we assess the collector's market, it isn't the old stuff that keeps keeping the new companies alive, like the companies creating toys for new collectibles. It's the new stuff. Well, there has been a discussion about the major companies like MATTEL, HASBRO, Spin Master, and BANDAI are struggling with quality of assurance on products. Like paint quality's gone down, like low articulation on certain things. The toys kind of gone down on their products. From toys, film, and the collector's market, it's gone down a little too. As of now, and whereas the independent companies like Valeverse, Neca, Super 7, etc. are pushing for better product, that the major 3 companies we've listed, there is a division in the market that affects, I spell effects instead of affects, the adults and separates the community from generations, from parents and kids alike. There is a greed factor in collecting about values, and there is a constant battle between the fan bases and the resellers, especially when the product has value in its build, design, and monetary substances. Meaning, if the product's actually good and the collectability sustains value over a longer time than average. And we have the collectors and collectors are resellers who try to control the collectability of items like toys, comics, and card games. They buy as much as we can of a product and hold and sell at their leisure, which brings a battle to the companies like Hasbro, who think items are flying off the shelves. They will just reprint, and there's a demand and a supply issue. When someone falsifies a collector's market average number rate, hold on a second. when people scoop up all the items off a shelf, they affect the numbers, making it seem like the product's probably hotter than it is, or it is hot as it is, and it makes them want to reprint. And there's a demand and a supply issue when this happens. So like when someone falsifies the collector's market average number or rate, then there becomes a weird communication problem through numbers and profits. And I spelled profits wrong too. That happen in the buyer's market, and the major companies and suppliers are all in this. It is a tangled mess. Where do we fix the issue from here? Let's go. All right, let me close that out. Boop. Yeah.
All right, that was a lot. All right, so I have thoughts. Definitely, product has gone downhill with the main three. I think it's been a trend that we've been seeing since the toys in the 80s. We like look at like the Masters of the Universe toys. Like they used to be like real quality. Like you get some of those old Masters of the Universe toys, and if you still have all their arms and body parts, they're still pretty good quality plastics. You know, then for a while they went down in quality in the plastics, and they still have. I mean, and a lot of the toys, like the plastic quality is like cheap anymore. But you get like only time they use the good plastics is when they're like trying to make a collector's lot for that toy. But even then, like either they overprinted or they're over charging, or they're just picking the wrong characters to use. Yeah. I've been digging on like some of these third-party collectible toy companies, kind of like that sprung up from the Pop generation. I know Pop has turned into the Beanie Babies of plastic, but that generation of toys sprung up a whole lot of those.
Oh yeah. Yep. And which is funny because the quality of Pops, they're getting better.
Yeah.
Like they are. Like there were people discrepancies saying Pops look all alike. Now they're getting better with their Pops, right? And they are the Beanie Babies of the generation. There's a collectible market out there. There's a reprint issue. They deal with all the same stuff Hasbro does. It's probably why the lady from WotC moved over to there. She's like, WotC doesn't want me anymore. I want to go over here and work here in the collectibles industry still. But
you know, I think that's a big issue with like collectibles industry or toy industry. You know, when dealing with the manufacturer, what are you first? I think they're just going to be the toy industry first, to be honest with you, and they're just going to keep on reprinting these toys. You know, until they're like, okay, people stop buying it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, let's look at the facts of the big three, right? The big three: Hasbro, Mattel, and Bandai. Most of the cases, the toys they make are meant for children. Right?
Indeed.
Right? When we were kids, we loved their toys. Well, I still love their toys. I still love the Transformers. But back in our days, they were more quality. Nowadays, you can even look at Transformers in the shelves and realize, unless they're adult-focused toys, the quality is just crap. You know what I mean?
Like modern Transformers, I'm afraid to transform them. Like literally, I'll break them. You know, like the plastic's so cheap on these Transformers you're getting from Walmart. Now, I mean, they're not like the Transformers you're getting from your collector shop that costs, for the same exact Transformer, costs like 3 times as much just because they're changing the plastic out to something better. You know.
Oh, yeah. And DeLawson says if people don't speak up about the quality of the product, they won't fix it. Well, from what I hear from a couple different sources, that's kind of true, but kind of not. And here's why. It's not about the design of the toy that's losing quality. It's about penny pitching and what they're willing to do to make the toy to sell it.
Also,
material.
Yeah. Also, if a child breaks a toy, a child's parent buys a new toy. So based off of the whole idea of planned obsolescence, if you use lesser quality material, you're going to sell 2 of that product.
and like now, I don't think the toy companies are making like less quality toys that breakable like that. Like, and I'm not going to go with all that, but cheaper plastics and stuff like that. When they change plastics, that's kind of an issue there. But when it comes to paint apps and design, like I've watched a couple people, one person in particular, who talks about the toy industry because he works the toy industry. He worked for Hasbro, a couple other companies, now owns his own company. And his biggest issue with the big company like Hasbro was the penny pinching issue. He was a toy designer. He would design a toy like pretty good. Then it'd go into the process of being mitigated for what they are willing to do. They'll be like, take this out, save a couple pennies here, change a paint app here. Let's do this. Let's make this expensive idea as cheap as possible and sell it to the world. Because after a certain point, when a company gets too big for their britches, I guess it's like, what's the least we can do to get the most gain? And I think that's a big separation in the market for toys, especially when companies like Valeverse, Super 7, and Neca are producing these high quality figures that they're willing to spend the money on. I'm pretty sure they penny pinch where they can, but when it comes to value, looks, and desirability, they're more collectible than what you get from Hasbro anymore.
Yep.
Unless it's a Hasbro Pulse toy and it's sold to adults. And it's strange to think about that, right? Adults probably make this is just a guesstimate, not a fact, but adults probably spend more money on toys nowadays than kids get money spent on them for toys.
Yeah. See, as adults, when it comes down to spending for our toys, just look at how much a PlayStation costs nowadays. Look at how much the stuff, and then we're buying it for us, and obviously the kids are going to probably be playing it, so then we're going to be buying those games. It's so much a pop. Just as standard gaming or whatever, not including collectibles market. Now you look into the collectibles that we have nostalgia for, especially right now. Recently, we had the Final Fantasy stuff, and that stuff went for bank. You're gonna we weren't buying that for our kids, we were buying that for ourselves in the long run. As a community, it's we're probably going to be spending a lot of money on ourselves, but we're also probably if we're smart enough and looking at our collectibles or looking at our whatever, we want some of the highest quality stuff in that collection. So we're going to definitely be spending a little bit more money.
Look at trading cards today, right? Well, trading cards today are designed with two people in mind: the adults and the children. And the trading cards today are sold to children with the knowledge that adults are going to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I designed this toy, like this toy right here, if they remade it, would probably be sold as an advanced toy for how good quality it is for back in the day compared to today. And cards are the same. And now Wizards of the Coast has been getting better with their card stock. They've been getting better with their prints. So I'm not gonna tell them they have. Pokemon is doing pretty good in their realm too. They make this 13 plus, so teenager based game, and Pokemon's kids based, but they know adults are going to buy it. So the market is fluctuated so different ways, and that's where we kind of step into the weirdness of things, right? Like, for example, comic books, when they first came out, they were kind of for kids, and adults liked them. Then they started making adult-based comic books, like horror-themed books and stuff like that. It exploded, got big, and the media has transformed so much. And now I could be wrong on the comic book thing, but I believe it started as for like little kid strips, like the newspaper. But adults really liked it, and they started getting to the adult genre, like the horror things, like Tales from the Crypt, and other things. You know,
Tales from the Crypt, political comics in the political section. They've gone a long way from just little tiny humorous little blurbs, one panel little blurbs in the, and then to into a kids media. Really, most of the comic strips, as you know them in the newspaper, got their start because of political comics. Since even back in the days of George Washington, there was always these caricature artists making fun of the politicians. And I think that's where a good majority of our comic strips, the idea of our comic strips come from. And during the World War, World War II in particular, the comic strips were used, comic books from Marvel to DC, all across the board. Every periodical publication was using the comic strips as propaganda to, God Bless America propaganda. Captain America, for example, spawned out of just that franchise of moving political comics into the children's market.
really quick, I want to say hello, Backwoods Collectors. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. You're planting those trees, so we don't have to. We appreciate that you're here. But yeah, like look at this. Cartoons were kid things back in the day. Then when the World Wars hit, they made more adult themed for the back in the day, adult themed cartoons for the soldiers to keep them entertained during wartime. And that's kind of how things changed back then, because one thing that a lot of people don't address, and I think they need to address, is media like movies, newspapers, magazines, and stuff like that. That was the YouTube, the TikTok back in the day. The little cartoon blurbs were the TikToks. The newspaper was YouTube. Before there was TV, it was basically the same kind of thing that just evolved over time. And with that in mind, think about collectibles. There wasn't really a lot in collectibles for toys during that time. In fact, I remember growing up, the main collectible things that you could find were wartime things. Like when I was a kid, we had a place, I can't remember the name of the place, but there were a wholesale warehouse kind of place where they sold military garb from World War II and so on and so forth, where you can buy all the get-ups. You can buy like empty grenades, empty shells. You could buy real time weaponries for high prices. You could buy camping gear that was made for that time frame, and they were collectible, and people were buying it. You could buy the helmets. People were making movies off it. It was the big thing, and that was the collecting of the era for the people who lived and survived that era and kept on going. And the collector's market today for kids like me who got into the toys, who love the Transformers, the G.I. Joes, the Motu, everything. That's what's shaped today. And as media shaped, like between the World Wars and the TV era, pushed a lot since then and transformed with it. Because even though cartoons back in the day when I was a kid were 30-minute advertisements, media changed to sell you on products so they could make money, and money can make money over here, and money can make money over there, and everybody's making money. And I was stuck with toys,
Hey, did you feel the heat coming off of that? Because Tortoise was cooking.
Thank you.
I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let you go. Yeah, you've thought about this one for a minute.
Yes, I did.
You thought about this rant for a minute. I have a few of these. So, and then back to where the whole concept of the collecting community needing things. So we are, particularly our generation, having come out of the 80s and 90s, and having that indoctrine of toy sales, collectible sales, periodical sales, food sales of something put into our everything. We've merged it into film. We've merged it into things. Some people call it like subliminal messaging and whatnot, but there's advertising everywhere, subliminally or not. and you want these toys, you want these things. I know somebody who finds old magazines that are tore up, and they take these tore up magazines and they collect the old advertisements from the magazines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and your collections need. You can collect just about anything. Your collections need things. Unfortunately, with where this topic started out is the mainstream toy companies that are putting out a majority of what people are collecting
Right.
are just not putting out good quality anymore, or quality worth putting into a displayable collection.
Mm-hmm.
And you get all this hype for stuff, whether it's worth it or not. And then it is two different conversations. You hear about these people like buying into a set of a particular trading card, and they spent like 3 times as much, that made it not worth it. But at the same time, the quality of it determines what's worth it. I got somebody at my door. Hold on a second.
All right. K-Chicken says the first social media was writing a letter to your favorite magazine and hoping to see it in the back of the pages on the later issue. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so like there's advertisements always going to be around, and your collection does need collections, right? Your collection needs to build up. If you want to be a collector, you're going to have stuff to collect. Now you can be like me, have an adverse collection of like different things here and there and different whatnot, and have like a whole collection of toys in a drawer. But some people like to display their cases, they like to go crazy. Some people go broke, some people don't. Some people are smart with the money, you know. Now the collecting scene needs is to me is that open versatility to target not target, but to open the broadening to what's collectible today. Because like, you know what's collectible, and it's kind of funny in the video game realm, old consoles are collectible. You know why older consoles are collectible? They don't require internet. Their games are on a hard disk and they're not digital. You don't need to download things. Where non-vintage consoles today, like the PlayStation 5, the Xbox new one, whatever it's called, the Switch 2, where the games are all digital and they require the shop, you know, those are not going to be as collectible as like the older stuff, because you need the internet to access that stuff. There's no longevity promised for these shops. So these older consoles like the Game Boy Color or whatnot, GameCube, Nintendo 64, to PlayStation, the Xbox, the very first Xbox, you know, those consoles are collectible. Even the PS3 is collectible because you still have the hard disks out there. People want them. The video game industry is transforming to make things less collectible. I mean, you can get a fancy case with a little piece of paper with a code inside.
Yeah, you know, I guess if you're one of those people, I mean, there are people who collect the cases. I mean, I know this person who has a collection of VHS cassette cases. They don't have the cassettes. You know, there are people who collect those. But yeah, the abolishment of physical media, and it's going to be one of the things that we cover on the show tomorrow for Procrastinating Across the Ocean, is that the abolishment of physical media is kind of killing your collections to a certain degree. Remember when you used to have, and I said this to Coogee Dude not too long ago, when you had just like walls of like bookshelves full of VHS cassettes. Right. And you're like, yeah, that's not even our full collection. We had to put the rest inside a box in the attic because we couldn't fit them, you know.
Wow.
You know, I mean, just remember like that whole VHS era, you know, and you had a collection, whether you wanted to or not, just for entertainment, you know. And then as a kid, you were keeping your comic books, and you know, and I have boxes of comic books from when I was a kid to now, and I'll tell you what, you know, I mean, your collections can take up a lot of space, and then when you sit there and you look at what like PlayStation's doing, what the new Nintendo is doing, you know, by saying, okay, well, it's going to be digital only from a certain point on, and it's going to be going in that direction. A lot of the minimalist nature, you look around your house and you're like, man, remember when I used to have stuff?
Yeah. K-Chicken says the original Star Wars VHS is highly collectible because the box package is not the actual video.
Hmm.
Yeah. Nice.
Interesting.
That's funny. I was about to select that too. You got it. But yeah, so like the industry needs physical media. The industry needs physical goods that are good quality, right? Like, you know, low quality goods are not collectible. And maybe tin hat theory, right? Tin hat theory. The big three companies and stuff are trying to get away from good quality toys because they never make money off the secondary market. And they're like, they want to steal the secondary market, but it's not working because we want goddamn good quality toys.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, and maybe adults appreciate that more. You know, back in the day when a kid had a little Tyco truck, that thing lasted forever in the weather. Where today, a little Tyco truck, like a little Tyco kind of truck, will
You
not
mean those
last.
Tonkas? The
Yeah.
Tonka trucks?
Yeah.
Man, those were made out of metal. Those were real toys. You could take the wheels off and put different wheels on. Oh man, those were toys, man. Those were toys. It was Christmas when you got a Tonka truck.
Oh yeah, I loved my Tonka truck when I had it. Loved it.
No, I said Tyco, but you're right, it's Tonka.
Tonka truck. Tonka vehicles, they were built to be abused.
Oh yeah, they don't make toys like that no more.
Nope.
Right, and you know what? They're still collectible till this day.
Oh yeah,
you know. And don't be wrong, there are some that are rusty buckets nowadays compared to for how long they've lasted. I'm talking about over 3 decades, like over a century they've lasted.
Oh yeah,
you know.
So
and holy cow.
I actually ended up collecting some of those metal Tonkas. I used to have those when I was like a young kid.
Right.
The only thing I don't like about them is if you leave them outside after you get done playing, and the next day or like later on in the afternoon when it gets really hot, you go to play with them, you burn your hands.
right.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
you know what's funny is my biggest problem with Tonka trucks is you leave them outside, you got to play with it, and a spider crawls out from one of the cracks.
Oh, yeah.
My biggest issue was leaving it outside and then coming back later to play with it. Somebody still sold it because it's a Tonka.
It's a Tonka. Kids will still. That's no lie. Like they don't think they're stealing. They're like, "Oh, neat toy. Let's take it." You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I get that. So, you know, I had to deal with that as a kid too. But like, and don't get me wrong, that mind frame, knowing that kids just pick things up because they want it, is a sign that something's collectible in the future. Like Ninja Turtles, when they first came out, they were collectible because they were cool. Now they're collectible because they're vintage.
Right.
You know, they're those memories. You know, and that's what we love about our childhood is all the memories we had, the friends we had around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing that we need again. Like one thing the collector community needs again is that friendship that we had. You remember back in the day, we had friends we used to share our toys with, or we'd play imagination with, we'd have a blast hanging outside with. I mean, come on. You know, there was a time out there, people, where we'd actually go outside and play with friends for hours. Where now, today's world, we're so minimalist with friends where we're like, let's stay in our house. Let's not go outside. Let's play video games. Let's not socialize with other people. We're not getting those core memories that we used to. We're not getting those nostalgia feels like we used to, you know. It's all changed. Like I know when you grow up, things change, but those memories. Like I love Transformers because I had a friend who loved Beast Wars as much as I did, and we played with Beast Wars toys all the time, and we had all these fun events. We'd play wartime outside, you know, in the graveyard park that we had, because it was a park with a graveyard in it. We'd play wartime games out there. You know, we had those friendships. Nowadays, you don't get that. They like, well, I don't know why it is, but society has taken so much out of the joy of being a child and growing these memories and taking it away. Like
Yep.
you're no longer that's like it's no longer acceptable to have a social life unless it's social media.
Yeah. And a lot of times, back when I was a kid, my mom used to make me go outside. Could not keep me. And I mean, I wanted to stay in the house, but she would not let me come in the house. She would make me stay outside and play with other kids.
Right,
I was a kid that was antisocial.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to stay in the house and watch cartoons all day long.
Right.
But yeah, and I'm glad she did. I enjoyed my time, made friends, got to play with their toys, and I got my toys, took them outside. I was able to play with my toys and had a great old time.
Cane Checker says, wait a minute, you went outside and played in the dirt and on the lawn and oh dear Lord, in the alley? Right? Yeah, we actually played. Look, where the collector's market is going is it's just like, here's a hot take, right? Hot take, conspiracy theory. Where the collector's market is going is where the collector markets, as when we were kids, we're getting the stuff we loved, to the collector market now is turning into a new income. You know, you're separating your childhood and making an income now, and that's where the separation's coming. Like us old people are growing too old to do all this stuff for the rest of our life, and new people coming in are buying it for the income. They're learning the toys, they're learning how things work, they're learning the ins and outs of reselling stuff. It's becoming a secondary income instead of having these vintage toy memories. Their income. Dawson says, I was so backward when I was a kid. Right? But yeah, I mean, what do you think about that, KJ?
Well, so when I was a kid, I was really much into getting out of the house, and like I had these action figures, and I would do this like I'd take my action figures outside with me. The concept of having my toys tomorrow was not in my head.
Right.
And so like I think I buried a bunch of my put bottle rockets on some of my action figures, you know.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. Like when I was a kid, when I was a kid, I gave away all my toys to my nieces and nephew. Never thought they'd be worth money back.
Yeah, and didn't even think about like these things. So it's like if I had half the stuff that I had when I was a kid now, oh my God, you know, I had some toys that like collectors would go crazy for nowadays. Don't have it no more.
You're right, and that's why it makes them collectible, because there are a lot of toys that got trashed, and now there's lots of them on the market. And we got Real Wiz. What's up? Says, when I was a kid, I made both split wood, played basketball, football, BB gun wars. Nice. We got Bad Manners. Woo. Keep up the great work, fellas. Keep up the great work. Hope you're doing well and having a blessed, awesome day.
What's up, Bad Manners?
Yeah.
Biz.
Yep. K-Jaker says, technology has ruined some outside play because of the ring, you can't play Ding Dong Ditch anymore.
Remember those days?
Old school Dragon Ball Z figures. Yep. We definitely need a reset in the community, because like I said, my hot take is collecting is becoming an investment more than it is becoming about nostalgia. It's becoming more of a secondary job than it is about nostalgia. Kids today are going to have a harder time remembering the times today they had with toys, because their toys kind of suck. You know, you can't do good prank calls either. That's right. But like But if the toys suck and they're not good condition, the kids don't spend hours playing, socializing. They're gonna have a hard time growing up. And when they have a kid, because it's weird to think of how many kids were born since I was born and how many generations there are since I've been born, right?
Yep.
Holy cow. I mean, there is 4 decades of kids born since I was born. 4 decades. And I'm part of that decade, those decades, because I was born in the first of the fourth,
Yep.
But every day the generations change and the taste changes too. Every year there's a kid born in multiple states, thousands, right? And that's a weird thought. But as evolution changes and all these kids are born, they get different interests. Technology changes, TV changes. Maybe your toys are not cool enough for those kids. But when you take away the idea of being a kid about like those old movies, like we used to watch where kids would be kids and go on adventures. We're too struggling to be safe nowadays. And look, there's a realism to being safe outside, especially in today's world. But your front lawn should not have to be an issue, sadly, I think the most times I see kids playing around in a yard is at a churchyard. You walk by a church, there's kids on Sunday school, they're playing games, whatever. That's about as much as they get socializing. They go to school and they have to socialize in that stress ball of a world, because we understand from the news how stressful school can be. That's crazy.
That's the issue with today's society in general, is kids do not go outside and play. But yeah, there's dangers, but heck, those dangers when we was growing up.
Right.
But we always went outside and played. But the kids nowadays, they're always stuck indoors.
Right. Like the stream, everyone. Thank you, Bad Manners. But yeah. Well, look, you can't forget the evolution of society has changed.
True.
And one thing that's changed with society is the news. The news is the news, and they report all the bad things. Like when we were kids, you had to wait till like 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever, to get your news. Now we're 24-hour news. That's updated news. So we're actually seeing real-time events comparatively to what's happening around your neighborhood, what's happening in your state, what's happening in the neighboring state. 20 years later, something was figured out, And so really kind of broke up the community. Yes, Bad Manners. There's no sense of community. That's the thing missing from what existed in your guys' time. That's true.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, it used to take a neighborhood to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
And the community is divided, and the collector community needs that kind of backup. The collector community needs that kind of backup. I mean, how do we get here from where we started? We're just breaking down the idea of collecting, what the collectors need, and collecting. If all collecting becomes is a job, you're going to lose the heart of the whole thing. Was that nostalgia factor? I mean,
Exactly.
there's just so much going on.
Yep.
I mean, KJ's brain space is just
the nostalgia factor is probably one of the most important factors to collecting. I mean, you're not going to be collecting something that you're not interested in, let alone that something that you haven't had any kind of feels for. I mean, there are people who are going to go, oh, okay, this goes into my random awkward trinkets collection. But I mean, for the most part, collectibles, when people are thinking, okay, this is part of my collectibles, some sort of branded line most of the time that they collect, it is all about that nostalgia effect. Why did Spider-Man, the most recent Spider-Man movie, make a lot of money? They just shoved nostalgia right in your face.
That's right. And I enjoyed it 100%. Nostalgia is a drug.
It is.
But seriously though, see, what makes one thing great about the community that we had growing up is if you enjoyed something, you got to hang around kids your age that enjoyed the same things. Not only were you excited about it, you had people who were excited about it around you. When the internet wasn't so prevalent and you actually had to go face to face with people and actually have this thing called a good time and enjoy company and actually enjoy a life of socializing, you would get excited with people. Now you'd have your differences, but you'd always have a line of communication. We're stuck in the idea of individualism so hard nowadays. Like the idea of being an individual is so supplanted in today's generalization that people even get disenfranchised from the community they're in. It's like you want to do this, you want to do this. Here's your life plan. Stay in this track. Sure, have a friend or two do this, go this far. It's just so crazy. And not only is that everybody divided in a different way, since the changing of the community has changed from hanging out with your friends and stuff, and your online social life is your social life now. Your opinion might change because someone convinces you not to like it because you don't want to be bullied.
Right.
Maybe that's a deep dive. Maybe I'm full of crap, but but like we loved growing up. We had friends. I never had a lot of friends growing up, but every time I'd have like one or two friends. We'd hang out and do things, hang out, actually play games, play with toys or something when we was kids, when we were teenagers, we'd play video games together in the same household, if you believe it or not. Yeah, there's this thing where we actually had to be in the same household as someone else to play a video game together.
Mm-hmm.
Mind blown, right?
Yep.
And I guess the biggest thing I'm getting at is the change of community is changing the collector's market, right? Because the collector's market, the community is conventions. People you've never met before for the first time going to a convention. You've probably seen some people on YouTube. You probably met some people on social media, but you never met them in real life. Your social life is now these conventions, and people love them. They actually have a good time. They build a small sense of community, and they go back, right? They go back.
Exactly. And also, you made a YouTuber. It's almost like meeting your hero.
Yeah. Are you trying to say you're my hero?
No, you're my hero.
Because I could be your hero, baby. I can. But yeah, does that make sense, KJ? Does that make sense, Lone Wolf?
I think it makes sense.
No, makes sense to me.
All right. It makes sense. I'm Hillbilly's hero. Okay.
What makes sense is that the fact that you're Hillbilly's hero, but on that poster on the other side of the camera that you can't see, it has you dressed up as Superman.
That's right.
That's what doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, I really think we need, I think the biggest change we need in the community is find a way to implement community, because my hot take is nostalgia is leaving the back door for these newer collectors, and it's just becoming a part-time job to a full-time job for people. So the passion's changing. The love of things are changing.
Yep. Stuff's just all that stuff's just becoming a dinosaur.
Thinking of dinosaurs, guess what comes out tomorrow?
KJ.
Well,
Right.
KJ's birthday is tomorrow, but his birthday happens to fall on the day that Jurassic World
Rebirth
is coming out tomorrow. Which
Oh.
I want to warn people now. For those who didn't watch my live stream a couple days ago, there will be no morning stream on Friday.
Oh.
I'm going to watch Jurassic World Rebirth in theaters.
Nope.
I've got more important things to do. Jurassic, dinosaurs. Screw you,
right.
people who live now. I'm more interested in things that died 1 million years ago. Bye.
That's weird, KJ. I have a picture of ST in a Superman suit.
I guess I missed that merch drop.
Me too. Well, no, he actually has a picture of me in a Superman suit. My wife and I got married in Superman garb because the S stands for my last name in this meeting. Because my last name starts with S. For those who don't know, I'm not telling you my last name. I mean, you can find it on social media, but you don't have to dig for it. But anyways, so we actually wore Superman capes, Superman shirts, and we got married in Superman garb in a tropical island backyard of our friend's house. And we got married because the point was my wife and I, we were each other's heroes, saving us from different paths.
Cool.
You know. And whoop, whoop, look at we now. 8 years later. This is our 8th year anniversary, everybody. Whoop,
Nice.
whoop. And as all good things come to an end, not talking about the marriage because that's still going good.
Hit that subscribe button. Become a part of the creep.
Too much to take. Show is lit. MTG3, are you game? Rise, creep, rise, building a following as we gain. Spitting fire like a dragon, no one can bring us down. MTG3 in the house, we own this town. Ripping through the beats with a fury.
Woo! Everybody. What a fully loaded show of hot air coming out of my mouth today. Oh, man. Well, I hope it was a good show. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the context of the show and enjoyed the thought process and agreed with some things. This is the stinky time boo. That's right. But now we need to get to the shill section, right? The shill section for the thrill section, because it's the show with the flow, but it has to come to a stop. Like right now, we have to halt the show so we can shill to you to remember there's channels out there and people are streaming besides me. There's other people than me out there. Then I'll shill. They'll remind you that I'm still streaming.
I didn't know there's anybody else out there. Oh, wow.
Right. I can see you all. All right, let's start with Lone Wolf. If like I know he doesn't shill, but he can talk about whatever he wants for a minute.
All right, so I got a couple things. Of course, follow and like and watch all these guys: KJ, Cowboy Dan, Hillbilly, and Tortoise. But I also want to say Tortoise is getting so close to 1,000. Let's get him there.
Whoa, whoa. We got a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers. Whoa, whoa.
Ooh.
All right, thank you, Lone Wolf. And let's roll over to KJ Cowboy Dan.
Hey, howdy, hey, boys and girls. So tomorrow, my birthday, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. We got a lot planned. We're gonna be here in the morning with part 2 of today's show, so make sure you join us for that. Also, tomorrow I'll be hanging out with Scoob, Jesse, and a few other of my friends. I'm going to just send some links out at random before the show. So if you feel like you want to watch procrastinating, it's going to be our birthday show, but we're going to be talking about like some birthday stuff. And then we're also going to be talking about like the gaming world, and particularly having just bought a game that is a game bundle, only to find out that base game not included in game bundle.
Wow.
Whoa. Game bundle. It'll be interesting.
So
what
check
time does the show start tomorrow?
That'll be at 7 p.m. Also tonight at about 7 p.m. Sonichu Scoob and me are going. Scoobachu. Scoobachu is going to be doing a Suno battle with me tonight on Twitch. I joined for that at 7 o'clock p.m.
Nice. Sounds awesome. Sounds good. And now we're going to roll over to the MTG Hillbilly.
Hey, everybody got a lot going on today. This afternoon at 2 o'clock, if you want to play a game of standard against me, yes, we got the bands. Oh, man, Center seems fresh now. So if you want to play a game against me of standard, feel free to challenge me on Arena this afternoon around 2 o'clock. And also tonight, we also got a Commander game going. And if you're interested in that, all you got to do is give me a shout in Discord. Just don't holler too loud because you might hurt my ears. But anyway, holler at me in Discord and let me know that you want to play Commander. That's what we got going on today.
Nice. Nice. And we got Super Fast Tortoise, everybody, tomorrow. The show is going to start a little bit later, around 11:30, maybe a little after 11:30, because the wife goes to work early tomorrow, and I got to make sure dinner and lunch is made for her before then, so I got to get things set up. So the show's going to start a little bit tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a hot topic show like today, but tomorrow's also KJ's birthday, and he chose the topic himself. So for his birthday gift, I'm giving him the topic he wants. It's not the topic you want. It's the topic you deserve. So come and watch tomorrow's show. And while you're at it, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you for being here. Everything you do in that free realm helps out a lot. And if you want to help the channel go further, become a member. Considering it. You know, it's $1 to $2. And if you do, it's pretty cool. You become a member. Yeah, you get a little perks, all that fun jazz. But anyways, that's my show for today. I want to thank everybody for being here on the show today. I want to thank you, Hillbilly Lone Wolf, KJ Cowboy Dan, for being here. You rock, you're awesome. Everybody in chat, you rock, you're awesome. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. From Cane Shaker, Bad Manners, Backwoods, DeLawson, everybody that showed up. Everybody. That includes you, little Tiny Tim out there. You know who you are. Thank you for showing up and being here. I want to remind you, you are loved. Someone's thinking about you, and if you can, say and or do something positive for someone today, because you might be the change they need today. And with that, my friends, let's get to a sweet, sweet outro. Thanking the channel members and subscribers. Whoop, whoop.
Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Let's talk from in the shell and share good vibes and good